And let's get right to the phones and say good morning to Paul. You've been waiting the longest. Paul, good morning. What's on your mind?
Good morning. I've been a part of the history as far as the planning and the zoning and the stuff since around 2009, I'm guessing. And the biggest thing that goes in my mind that's just nods at it is that the residents have never driven what you guys have been doing, and what you are doing is the same thing that we're trying to do back in 2009, 2012 in that area. So there isn't a change. And so the residents aren't in charge. Someone's talking in the background there. I is interrupting here.
No, yeah, well, you go right ahead, sir, please.
Okay. Like I say, someone's on my phone talking in the background. I can't make it up from you guys.
Okay, can you hear me when I'm talking to you, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can also hear the other guy talking that's in your room.
Okay, well, Nick is on the phone with another caller, so as soon as we get that on hold,
okay.
Yeah. So just go ahead and state your point, and we'll address it.
Well, thank you. So what is happening in the late 2008 to 10 or so is basically developers were on the planning board, so they were developing the city for themselves in so many ways. And I went to all sorts of council meetings. And it seems to me when you say add in things to property, well, most everybody that I talk to, if they could buy a home in a neighborhood, that's what they're looking for, a single-family home. And the city has done everything it can to eliminate single-family home dwelling. And the first thing they use, well, there might be some gay families, and that excludes them. Well, there would be plenty of ways to change the family definition. But no, they use that, and then they decide, well, we'll just make it 8 or fewer people. And, there was no vote on that or anything like that. They just like, well, that's what we're going to impose after numbers at council meetings when 2030. But I'm going to go on here because I get cut off so often because, you can't criticize people.
Well, you've asked a question. We'll let them answer it, and thanks for the call.
Yeah, I
you,
appreciate the call, but I would just say that just because you have an opinion doesn't mean it's the correct opinion. And Missoula, it's just simple math. You can look at the statistics year after year, and housing is getting more expensive, and it's getting harder to come by because there are more people moving here than there are houses available. And people who think that we can just stop building and that's not going to be a problem. There is no case study anywhere in the United States of America that would say differently. And I don't know some of your comments, but Missoula is an accepting community. And, I've always taken the approach in America that live and let live. So if people want to live together, they can live together. And I don't really know what that comment's all about. But there is nothing to this idea that this isn't needed in Missoula, because there are all kinds of people and they're looking for houses. The city isn't attacking single-family homes at all, but from the state legislature on down, they've recognized that for people who have property that they want to do something more with it, local government should be able to prevent them from doing that. And that's what some of these changes are about. But I would also say this has been a 3.5-year process. The amount of outreach, the amount of community participation that's been calling for these types of changes has been through the roof. It's probably the most participated in community project that the city's done.
So nobody can say you've done this in the dark.
Yeah, and last point I'll make, there's actually an outside organization, Pro Housing Missoula is a group that paid on their own for some scientific polling and found huge numbers of support for this, like 3 to 1 almost. So I think that we have to find a balance between, protecting what people love about Missoula, but also acknowledging that kids who grow up here should be able to live here. And the people who are working jobs in the service industry or are teachers or are firefighters can afford to live in the community they serve. And that's what this is all about.
Well, it's difficult, especially when you see the prices, beginning to increase. And unfortunately, our incomes don't increase along with it. So that's a challenge for everybody.
It absolutely is. And, the point about incomes is very accurate, but the city can't control that at all.
Of course
so the
not.
city has to participate in the pieces of the puzzle that we can help. And one of those is making sure that we're not overly regulatory in ways that aren't good for public health on housing. And that's what this process has done.
All right. Let's get another call in before we